Before we begin, actual trigger warning. I'll be discussing the crimes of Bill Cosby, Neil Gaiman, and Louis C.K. If you like their work and you're going to defend them in the text chat, I mean, thanks for the engagement and fuck you.
It's not I don't think you're going to find his works have that trail of breadcrumbs to the kind of person he is. It's his other actions that you're like, yeah, no, that actually makes sense.
Now, take the little cow away, Richard. I never want to see either of you again.
When I was 13, man, start talking about weird things. No, really, stand on a corner. You know anything about Spanish fly? His boys, I Spy is going to Spain. A childhood dream come true.
Everybody else, sorry in advance.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much.
There were no survivors. Elon. There were no survivors, Elon. You cringed us all to death. We've all died. You literally killed us all with this display of cringe. In other news, creators, do they tell on themselves? This correspondent thinks yes. And now I'm going to talk about it in a normal style voice. Hi, I'm your host, Malfeasance. And I want to talk about this video that Ant made. Should you feel bad about liking problematic creators? What is it called? Great works by awful creators. Am I wrong for enjoying them? Yes. No, that's a joke. I thought it was a pretty good video of a roundtable conversation with affected members of different groups affected by awful creators who made great works. It's mostly sparked by the Neil Gaiman controversy. It's mostly fueled by the Neil Gaiman controversy. Oh my fucking god. Neil Gaiman is a monster, and this video is kind of a response to that. I luckily was never a big fan of Neil Gaiman until kind of recently, or if I was a fan of his, it was like incidentally, like I liked Good Omens, but mostly because of Terry Pratchett and the concept, like the concept of the thing. I don't necessarily knew who wrote what. American Gods, I could take or leave. Coraline's great, but the stop motion animations, why I like it, has nothing to do with the story necessarily. I mean, it's a fine story, but I don't think Gaiman really influenced the movie that much beyond that. My point is it's very easy for me to walk back any major significance that this man might have had in my life, and I'm at advantage for that. Woody Allen never affected me. Michael Jackson barely affected me. There's a lot of these problematic creators who I could see would be like formative and important creators and inspirations that other people have to deal with. When the Neil Gaiman stuff came out, I couldn't help but think to myself, smugly, I may admit, that I might have had noticed maybe an indicator in Neil Gaiman's work that might have been a hint or a clue, Columbo style, to discover what a monster he actually was in real life. Besides dating that Dresden Dolls lady, which everyone went, oh, in hindsight, that makes sense. Neil Gaiman, he wrote these beautiful things apparently, and everyone really liked them, and nobody noticed that he wrote an entire comic book about how a writer gets inspiration by raping a muse. So I really only started reading Sandman because I've become a more broad fan of DC Comics in general. And when you're a fan of DC Comics, you go back and you read those the big works by the big creators, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman. And when I got to that Calliope comic in Sandman, I thought it was really strange.
She was created for this. This is her purpose.
Like, the entire point of it is essay. Yeah, in 24 hours, they do horrible things to each other, but that's like, it's supposed to be both showing the like how powerful the gem is, by extension, Sandman's powers, and it also shows the depravity of the character and all that. That is fine, because the essay is sort of it's less bad than the mutilation, but it's also not dwelled upon, and it also isn't like how the writer gets his inspiration. There's some stories that just ring more true in an uncomfortable way than others do, and they ping to my mind. And I'm not going to say that I'm like a genius that can spot these things a mile away. I am no Columbo myself, but I noticed this in Louis C.K.'s work.
Wow. Well, that's...
Louis C.K. had a show called Horace and Pete on Hulu right before his cancellation. There's this scene where a woman catches him basically jerking off because of a story she tells.
Okay.
Okay, would you go jerk off or something?
Well, my head is clear now.
Okay.
The actress does two things that Louis must have directed her to do. Pretty sure he wrote and directed all of these episodes. And that was for her to guess that he went off to masturbate, and then for her to look disgusted when he admits that he did. And she did do those things. She's a great actress. I have a feeling that that's just an anecdote, that story. And I don't know if I can say that I 100% felt that when I saw it, but I sure felt kind of uncomfortable when that scene came up. And I remembered that scene after the show was gone. I don't remember much else of the scenes except there's like some N-words being said by Steve Buscemi or whatever. I remember that scene because it was so weird and off-putting. I remembered it, and I went and got it for this video. And of course, Bill Cosby. This is like a really big, obvious... This guy was showing his hand the whole time, but look.
Spanish Fly was the thing that all boys from age 11 on up to death.
I mean, Spanish Fly. I knew about the Spanish Fly bit when I was a kid. I remember this album.
He said, are you kidding? There's a girl in my neighborhood in Berkeley named Crazy Mary. We gave her some...
When you see the Larry King interview, I mean...
The old story was, if you took a little drop, it was on the head of a pin.
That's right.
And
Drop
you put
it in
the drink.
Coca-Cola. Don't matter.
It doesn't make it, and the girl would drink it, and
she's yours.
Hello, America.
Yeah, it seems so obvious that this guy was up to some shady shit, right? I'm not saying that Ant and these other creators should have noticed this. I'm not saying that the general populace should have noticed this. I'm just saying, isn't it telling that these guys, even when everyone else seems to like know everything else about them, they still manage to put these little, I don't know what you even call them, polyps, cancers, clues into their own work. They have every right, what's baffling to me, and maybe it's gall, maybe it's arrogance or whatever, or maybe it's ignorance even with the case of Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby seems very giddy, like a young boy, at the idea of drugging and raping women in a way that I don't know how to feel beyond deep discomfort.
The girl would drink it, and
she's yours.
Hello, America.
And I can't explain it, easily, which is all the more galling and frustrating. But you got to admit, these clues were there. So what am I saying? Am I saying we should scrutinize every creator that gets really popular? Should you scrutinize every single thing that you... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you indulge in every paranoid fear that you... No, maybe not. But you should be awake. You should be aware. You should be paying attention to what is the things that you eat, you are them, especially those things that you ingest into your mind. All right, you get what I hope you get what I'm trying to say. This is like the 4th time I've recorded this video.
Maury, good
Hey,
morning.
listen, that puppet's gonna keep him off my back for the day.
This shit ain't nothing to me, man. I'm Dracula.
Now, thanks for watching. If you're not Anthony, you can go. You get my point, right? The creators sometimes telling themselves, great, we did a whole video. Great job for all of us. Ant, this is for you. Hi, buddy. You don't know me. My name is Melf, but I represent 10minutedailyvideo.net, your place for 10minutedailyvideo.net. And Malk and I would definitely like for you to help contribute over here. Now, I get it. You got no time. You're worried about getting your stuff done and edited and all that. I want to show you my idea here, okay? We have a perfectly good puppet. He's one of our sock puppets. Here he is. And, you know, I built this sock puppet, not really watching your videos or anything. And then I got into your videos, and I hadn't really used this puppet much, and I was thinking about it. I thought maybe, you know, if you wanted to make a quick segment that would fit within the show here. We're very open-minded about any topic. It doesn't have to be. It could be an informational thing. I honestly, I would just like to work with you in some level. All I need from you is your voice. I have grabbed a clip from the aforementioned Great Works by Awful Creators. I hope you don't mind. It's about Charles Dickens. And I've puppeteered what that might look like. Here it is now.
Someone who is on the left does something egregious. There's this sense of betrayal from an audience who applies morality with political beliefs, as though being one political side or the other makes you a moral, just person. I think that's what we're kind of touching upon. And people are stunned when someone who aligns with their political philosophies or aligns with what they believe to be their belief system turns out to also be terrible. Because I think people let themselves be more vulnerable. Especially if a creator focuses on emotional vulnerability, on emotional pain, on emotional openness. And I think to varying degrees, different creators, writers, directors, storytellers, there's been a degree of, we believe that this person can do no wrong, we lift them up to a certain level, and then when they turn out to be short of those standards, or in some cases even worse, completely in opposition to the standards we apply to them, we feel betrayed because we believe the same core political beliefs they did, which is simply not a correct way of looking at things. People are people, and people are capable of doing terrible things. And I think an example that comes to mind is, for an older example, would be Charles Dickens, where Charles Dickens wrote all these different works that were very much politically motivated, that were pushing an agenda in that time, pushing against, you know, the conditions that the poor face and what have you. When in actuality, in real life, he was kind of known for being a bit of not a great person.
I'm 12 million years old. I'm so violent and sick in the head, I can't tell if I want to kill my ops or fuck them.
Okay, I'm not nervous about this episode at all. Ha ha ha! Thanks for watching, Ant specifically. And, you know, if this is something we could work out, let me know. Thanks for watching. If you can help otherwise... Oh, not you, Ant. Just anyone that kept watching, I guess. Maybe I should have put this before. I have a Patreon, and like and subscribe. Actually, Ant, you could like and subscribe. That is free. Boy, Elon Musk, right? What an embarrassing person.
Legalized comedy.
And we've shifted the entire culture in just the last few months. The whole culture of this country.
I would fold into myself if that was me.